Dr. Rajesh is a senior consultant orthopedics, trauma, and foot and ankle. Lakeshore Hospital, Ernakulam. After his graduation in MBBS, MS Ortho, he did a fellowship on hip arthroscopy in UK and fellowship on foot and ankle in USA. Dr. Rajesh finished his post-graduation from Christian Medical College, Ludhiana, and has been working as a consultant in the Department of Orthopedics in Lakeshore Hospital for the last 14 years. Since 2012, he has been specializing in foot and ankle subspecialty after being trained in the USA and Germany. He is currently the only trained foot and ankle surgeon in Kerala. He has been a trauma and AO means arthroscopy or trauma part of it, faculty in various conferences and courses. The other information is quite strange. Honorary Secretary of the Indian Foot and Ankle Association. That must be the thinnest association that you have here. And he is the president of the Cochin Orthopedic Society. Thank you, doctor. We know that doctors are very busy in the mornings. The patients will be waiting in Lakeshore, to meet him. Thank you for joining us for this meeting and welcome you for this thing. I also welcome all of you for making it for this breakfast meeting. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the kind introduction. This is what we, as an orthopedic surgeon, fortunately, I was trained in one of the good institutes of India, but still, as far as foot and ankle was concerned, we had 4 or 5 theory questions and that's it. So none of us actually know much about foot and ankle in our postgraduate studies, and that actually, unfortunately, was still true. Most of us in MS orthopedics are not much focused in foot and ankle. Thankfully, foot and ankle is now being recognized because more and more people are wearing shoes and more problems are being recognized. Slowly and steadily, we are growing further. But then, this is how, I started actually, was it really important to focus on the foot? Is what my seniors in Cochin, in Kerala, and as well as India said to me. Because I was already a faculty for trauma going around, and then they said, why the hell are you going to look at the foot, which is a lot of complications here. So why is this foot so very important? It's because we have actually almost 26 bones, 33 joints, and almost more than about 107 ligaments, in the foot alone. So if you take our both feet, we have almost 25% of our bones in the feet itself. When God created this area so complicated, so this is how it will look. So many small bones. Ankle sprain, I'm sure most of you have got an ankle sprain or have seen somebody in the family having an ankle sprain. It's a very common thing, especially with our Indian roads, walking in a bumpy road, you always tend to have a little bit of this twisting of the ankle and having a problem around this part of the ankle. You'll have some amount of swelling and ankle sprain eye. So, starting from crepe bandage to plaster, different treatments are being done. Why I specify on eyes is you should understand the basic pathology when it happens. When you're injuring your foot, you have sprained your foot, you're actually damaging the soft tissue. You actually damaged your blood vessels. But some amount of blood vessels is stolen. Now, what happens when you put oil or hot fermentation is the natural reaction for heat is increase of blood supply. So that's why if you have a back pain and if you apply some hot oil, you feel better because the blood circulation improves. Here, actually, you do not want more blood supply because all those increase in blood supply will come out of the tissue and it will actually, the swelling will increase. So here you want to decrease the blood supply in the acute stage. And that is why you should actually put ice so that the temperature comes down the vessel starts contracting and there is no more bleeding. So this are possible things. This is one of the cases which I commonly refer because this is more commonly. Yeah. This was this 31-year-old treated for as an ankle sprain for more than 2 months. She was actually our own staff, and still she didn't come to me because Lakeshore has got this adage of being a bit costly. So she went around, and then the pain did not come down. She came to me, and you see the small blackening here. And if you look at an MRI, this is what the whole area is completely gone. It was the whole cartilage was denuded, and this actually needs surgery. Another problem most of you would have heard or had is the heel pain. This is a very common problem. I'm sure you would have heard at least somebody saying, got somebody heel pain. The first problem is that. The first step is very painful. A whole lot of diagnosis, possible diagnosis. This is the most commonest diagnosis, the plantar fasciitis. And what I always tell my orthopedic colleague is try to see the whole picture, because you might miss that diagnosis. Because if you look at one area and say immediately this is the diagnosis, you might miss a lot of things. We have switched over in Lakeshore. We are fortunate to have a little more advanced system of putting the plasma. We have an advanced system where we can take the proteins out of the blood, and those proteins are the interleukin cells, which are the what do you say, the germ layer cells, which can differentiate into any type of cells. You put it in the cartilage, it becomes cartilage cells. You put it in the soft tissue, it becomes soft tissue. So we take out that 15 ml of blood. Out of that, we get about 4 to 5 ml of this plasma proteins, and that we inject. So nowadays, I inject that. So there is nothing artificial there. Only problem with that is costly. That takes a lot of money from it. It's about 20,000 rupees, while this steroid injection is hardly about 500, 600 rupees. So that's the difference between the protein, though it's your own body blood. Again, steroid injections are here very dangerous because those weakens the muscle. So that is why after seeing a lot of complications of steroids, I've stopped doing steroids. This is what I said, the pop-up of this, and this. But you see, this is a normal ankle. This is how, if you look at yourself when you lie prone, your ankle will not dip down. The moment it dips down, that means there's a break here. That muscle, Achilles, is broken. And this is how we diagnose ultrasound, MRI, and you can treat with plaster conservatively and without surgery. So this, again, even if it is completely ruptured, we can treat it non-operatively. But then these are the few surgeries, I won't go about it. Flat feet is another thing which we all have seen. A fast review, flat feet between a child and a flat feet between an adult is totally different. The child flat feet are many a times asymptomatic. They become symptomatic only when the child is huge, obese. A 100 kg, 10-year-old, 11-year-old child will have a problem of flat feet. Normally, flat feet are not problematic. An adult who had an arch, normal arch, developing flat feet is a problem. So that is where this lady, for example, has a normal arch here, but you look at this area, it's completely collapsed. That is because this particular muscle which we have, this particular muscle, this stops functioning. 10 commandments, check your feet. So if you're a diabetic, buy a mirror for your foot. Look at the foot all the time because your foot is insensate. No normal sensation. So if you have a small ulcer, small thorn, you will not see. So try to see the foot from below. Take a mirror, make it a habit daily to see your foot down both morning and evening. Customized footwear, as I said, and sometimes we need bony surgeries and all. So, friends, adequate treatment actually in foot and ankle is possible. You got to identify the problem, and we have a long way of treatment. Thank you very much.